Hey guys, it's Maddie. Here is my portfolio. I designed it using Squarespace, and I got my domain through Squarespace as well. Here's my homepage. As you can see on the right, there is a little about me, and then there is my contact form, as well as a quick link to download my resume. My next page is work, my projects. There's 6 of them here, and I'll be going through those in just a second. My next page that I'm going to talk about is resume. And basically, it's just my education, work experience, and then skills. I've got my technical ones here, which are like software, and then my professional ones over here. And then another link to download my resume. Okay, so back to the work. Basically, I guess I'll start at the bottom. Um, so this is what a work page looks for my site. As you will see, they're all formatted the same. There's the title, there's the client, basically saying who I did the project for, the project type, the software I used during the project, and then I do a project overview, the process, in which I usually put pictures in here. I didn't for this one because I just kind of clumped them at the bottom, and then I have lessons learned at the very end. So this one was the DSL website redesign that we basically, a lot of us did. I can't remember what class it was, but it was one of my favorite classes because we did like a whole actual case study. Um, and basically, I just talked about our process, and then I learned mostly from this project that card sorting really, really comes in handy because the DSL website has so much content that you have to organize, and card sorting, including your users, is so crucial. So that was one of my main takeaways. So you can get back to my projects by either clicking work or going here, previous or next. So I'm just going to go down here. My next project I'm going to talk about is my Humanities Commons work that I did for like the MLA. So there's this, basically the project was mostly UX research. It was kind of like a market research thing. And I didn't really do any designing. It was mostly just interpreting results and understanding how to better focus the site on the users. Um, the client wasn't really focused on how the site looked per se. It was mostly about functionality, if that makes sense. But basically, here I learned to think outside of the box because one of the cool things that I did for this project was because we had so much data that we got from using Qualtrics, um, I learned how to use RStudio, and that was a really fun experience. It was something that I would never typically do, but yeah, it worked out really well for the project because I was able to visualize data in a way that I've never done before because we had so much from our surveys and I didn't know how else to do it. So yeah, think outside the box, try something new. The next project I'm going to talk about is the BitLab redesign that I did last year during an independent study with Emily Rader. This was a really cool project where I redesigned their whole website. I also included a screenshot of the homepage as well as a screenshot of my prototype. One of the main lessons here was that getting feedback is super duper important. And because this was an independent study, my professor that I worked with kind of just, it was all up to me to design my schedule. And I really enjoyed that because I'm a self starter, but it was really important for me to schedule weekly meetings to make sure I'm on the right track, and just to get feedback. So I really enjoyed that, and it kind of, yeah, it was a big deal to get feedback throughout this whole thing because it was one of my first projects that I did kind of solo. So yeah. Next is a project that I just wrapped up with at LlamaSoft. This was a huge project, and it wasn't a design project at all. It was an accessibility audit that I did on a huge enterprise software. And this took me a long time, and organization was key in this project. So the reason I don't really have any pictures on here is because I didn't really have any because I wasn't sketching or doing anything like that. I was mostly creating reports. and I can't put the reports on here because that's like confidential information, but I did put together a basic guide to accessibility for my coworkers because I was finding that I don't think they were designing with accessibility in mind to begin with. And I think if we had a workshop or something like that where we could talk about accessibility more often, I think people would start designing with accessibility in mind so that you don't have to do an accessibility audit down the line because those are very time consuming. So I did put this in there because I thought it was kind of cool, but yep, there's that. My next one is a main project that I did for LambdaSoft, which was I kind of redesigned how our customers dealt with importing and exporting files using our cloud-based software. And these are my final mock-ups. It was a little clunky beforehand, and now this was a little bit more streamlined, and I kind of used the same features that we would use in the software, which would be like these flyouts and these notifications, post notifications, stuff like that. Another thing that I learned from this one was feedback was so important with this one too because I was remote. And getting feedback when you're designing something remotely is really hard to do. I mean, it's not hard, but it's like super important because you can't just like go over to someone's desk. You have to like schedule a meeting to do it. So making sure that you do get that feedback is crucial because you don't want to waste any time. Down here, I have some screenshots of this thing it's called a Miro board, and it's like an online whiteboard where you can post whatever you want. And I kind of held all my research here because I did a ton of research on toast notifications, like when they should be triggered and what language you should use and stuff like that. So that's all laid out here. The last project I'm going to talk about is the summer internship program project that I did. And this was a really huge project, and it's kind of hard to explain, but basically I had to embed a database, or I'm sorry, a business intelligence tool into some pre-existing software. And the pre-existing software was also going to be redesigned too. So there was a little bit of a lot going on. And I learned a lot because there was just so much that I learned that summer. I could have like 10 bullet points here. But one of the main things I learned was about articulating your design to developers. I think that's something that we should talk more about in our classes. I think that would be really helpful because I guess when you know your design really well, you have to be able to talk about it in a way that makes sense to developers. And so one of the best things to do is to use like a prototyping tool like Adobe XD has where you can make clickable prototypes and walk them through it. So yeah, I mean, it comes with practice, but articulating designs is so crucial because you got to be really clear. And then I think that's my last project. So again, here's the work page with little screen captures of the main projects that I did. And yeah, that's about it. So thanks, guys.